Hey, it's Tanner. I hope you're having an amazing and productive day so far. I shared this setup with my students a few months ago, and they really got a ton of value out of it. So, hopefully, me sharing this with you today can have a similar effect. And I'm titling this How to Make Money Pushing Buttons. And more so, this is for you if you have a product online that you want to sell more of profitably and consistently using a paid ads platform. And the reason I even made this to begin with is because I got a lot of messages from people talking about how they went over to run Facebook ads, but their account got restricted, disabled, or they're losing money. And they see me posting something on my Instagram with like a 5x return, and they're wondering, how is that actually possible? What is the setup you're using, and how are you doing it? And that's why we're here today. Now, for just a second, I want to ask you this question right here. If you gave me a $100 bill and a week later I gave you $500 back, would you pay me again the next week, even if I didn't promise the same return? And pretty much everybody's going to say absolutely yes, because you already saw a result, you're in the green, you're profitable, so you're not scared to take a risk. And this is the same exact type of feedback loop that happens in gambling, where if you're not careful, you'll get emotional and make the wrong decisions and lose it all. So what I want to do right now is talk about how to make money pushing buttons, even if your ad account is banned, without spending a ton of money, without going insane, without having any experience, and without having to buy some sketchy agency account. Now, a few years ago, back in 2020, I went on a mission to learn and master every ad platform that I could. I started running ads on Facebook, Snapchat, Google, Reddit, Quora, Twitter, Pinterest, TikTok, and even more. And to this day, the one that has gotten me the most results consistently over time has been Facebook ads. And it's also now where I've spent the most money. And that's exactly why we are here right now today, because most people who run a Facebook ad campaign for the very first time start like this, right? Never having ran an ad before, never made a sale with it, probably just copying a tutorial video on YouTube or a course, hoping they set it up right, and they're kind of 50-50 on whether or not it's going to work. It's kind of like gambling, but they publish the campaign anyways. And then it goes one of two ways. The first way is it makes a sale, and you're pumped, right? Or the other way is there's no sale, but your money's being spent and you're freaking out. Now, does it really matter in this first case if you just set up a campaign like the person I just explained? And to me, I would say not so much if you don't actually know what you're doing. Because the reality is, if you don't have the programming on how ads work to begin with, you're going to squander any results that you do get. And this is the same exact reason why most people who win the lottery end up going broke, is because they didn't know how to manage small amounts of money. So when they won the lottery and had a ton of money, they had these same financial habits, which led them back to a position like they were in originally. And this same exact thing applies to whether you make a sale or not with your very first ad campaign. And I don't want you to worry, because we're here right now and I got you. There are some simple concepts you're first going to need to understand and be at peace with if you are going to be running ads on Facebook. The first one is only more and more people are going to continue advertising. So costs are going to go up. The longer you wait, the more expensive it's going to get. Another thing too is that you are not smarter than the system. Meta spends so much money to let advertisers do the least amount of work when it comes to button pushing. So don't think you can outsmart the algorithm. And next, you're using a platform that wants to spend your money, but you're still at their discretion. So it's very important to also just kind of become familiar with the policies before you start running ads. It'll take you 5 to 10 minutes, and you'll have a much better understanding than you probably have right now if you've never ran ads on Facebook before. And I want to say too that from my experience, a lot of the things that make people excited, like link clicks and CPM, the impressions, to me are vanity metrics. To me, the most important things that I'm looking for are obviously purchases, cost per purchase, and return on ad spend. Because at the end of the day, those are the things that are actually determining the financial outcome of what my actions are. And a cool part about advertising is that if you're also posting on social media from the pages you're running ads from, your ads will automatically get you new leads that maybe will become purchasers and customers later over time. Ads are really just an accelerator for your pages and your products. And with that being said, this is literally me, it feels like sometimes, where this person above is fighting for a 1.79 return on ad spend and being very, very focused on, specific naming conventions, trying to be better and smarter than Facebook, and testing the same old ad creatives. But then over here, for me, I love testing new things. I like having fun with it and just really focusing on the things that matter, like conversions and testing ad creatives. So what does that actually mean? Well, to me, it's not all about the fanciness or the secret strategies of running ads. Ads success is all about creative and product. So the best case scenario for you is you have an ad account right now that's active, you're profitable, you're making sales every day, you're testing creatives, and you're not really having to spend a ton of time on it. But how does this actually happen as a beginner? And the first thing here we need to do is set up an ad account. And there's going to be two types of people watching this right now. There's going to be people that have been banned and people that have not. For me personally, I was banned a few years ago when I first started running ads because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't look at the policies and I kind of screwed myself over. But how have I been able to kind of come back from that and still run ads consistently and profitably? Well, here's what I did. Instead of using an agency account, I just paid a friend $100 to use her aged Facebook profile on the back end. So basically what this means is I said, hey friend, can I use your Facebook profile that I know she's had for, let's say, 5 years, and I'm just going to use the business side. You're not even going to notice. And she says, sure, no problem. Cool. What I do is I log in, I get the login, I add my own two-factor authentication, and I only log into this Facebook account on a private browser. And I only log in when I'm on my home Wi-Fi or my phone hotspot. The next thing I did was I used a new URL, a new page name, and a new payment method. If you've been previously banned, this is what you're going to have to do. Otherwise, Facebook is going to track it as circumventing, and they're not going to be too happy. And one thing that's very important in this process is when I had this new Facebook profile and I wanted to start running ads on it, I didn't just go and try to make the ad account, the business center, the pixel, the pages, and everything all at one time in one day. Instead, I did, a couple things a day at first. Because if you go too quick, then sometimes you'll get flagged and it could become an issue. Now, if you're not banned, good. You can start off on the right foot. Just go to business.facebook.com and you can get yourself all set up and be able to make a Facebook page, the data set, ad account, and you will be good to go. And before you run any ads, you need to know your product and know your audience demographic. Now, this is like the opposite of an organic content strategy because this is an actual ad. People know that it's an ad. So don't just try to entertain them, sell them. So many people these days are trying to run ads that are purely entertainment like they would for a theme page. But this isn't a theme page. This is an ad. So sell them. And the more people that know about your product will buy it. It's just simple math. It's your job to make sure that you're creating ads that connect and click with your ideal customer demographics. And it's so important because that's exactly how Facebook's system works. If I want to target video editors, maybe I'll call them out in the top of the ad copy. Attention, video editors. I'm not going to just say, hey, do you like videos? Here's something we're doing. No, call out exactly who it is that your product helps. And don't go into this with your last $10. You're going to lose it. I only want you to run ads if you actually have some disposable income because that way you don't restrict yourself on a certain budget. What happens to a lot of people is they start with $100 or $200 and say, Tanner, is this going to be enough for me to start being profitable? And the answer people don't like to hear, but the truth is, it takes a different amount for every different person. There's not one common denominator. And it's important to know that because if you go into it, let's say with $100 and say, this is all I have, this is all I'm going to put towards it. What happens once you spend 50 of that and you haven't made profitable returns yet? What are you going to do? You're just going to spend the rest of it or you're going to give up? That's why it's so important to have at least some disposable income that you can allocate to this and becoming profitable and making the right decisions, which you're going to learn more of here in this video. Now, I also threw in here, I said, if you've had your offer and ads approved by me prior to this, but that's something I just do for my students. If you want to learn more about DDM and 2.0 and how that works, I'll put some information in the description. And running ads, in my experience, is only a lot of work in the beginning, because once you have built a foundation making sales, it becomes much less energy and effort to continue and grow it. It becomes more like a system, which is much better. And this right here is my testing strategy. With Facebook ads, you have 3 levels, right? Your campaign, ad set, and then actual ad creative itself. And the reason I do this type of setup is because it's non-biased at all. What I'm doing is testing creatives at the beginning. That's all I'm doing. You can let Facebook make all the decisions with your budget, but when you're starting out, I don't believe that's the right idea because you're not giving a fair test to every ad creative. So what I do is I have a campaign, optimizing for purchases, conversions, because that's what I want. Then I do separate ad sets at around 1/3 of my profit margin as the daily budget. So for example, if I have a $30 profit margin, all right, I'll do $10 per day. And the reason being is because I want this to spend over a couple day period and optimize before I hit my break-even point. And I'm only doing one ad under each ad set That way I'm spending the same amount for each one and giving it a test. So for example, if I test 4 creatives, maybe only one of them is going to work, maybe 2 of them work, maybe 3, maybe all 4 make sales. But if I put all 4 of the creatives, let's say under one ad set at $40 a day, I'm not going to know the results of a real fair test simply because it's not going to spend an even amount. It's going to spend however it wants. And that's something that I don't want you getting into until after you already have some creatives that have made profitable sales and are proven to work. Now, when it comes to decision making with your testing campaign, this is what I'll say. If something makes a sale, don't mess with it. Don't change the budget. Don't do anything yet. Just let it be. And only let ad sets spend up to your break-even point without a sale before turning them off. Now, if you have money and you want to push the boundaries, you can 2x this rule. That's something I personally do. And if an ad set starts spending money and it has no sales, but it has add to carts and checkouts initiated, that could be something that's a little bit of a hint for you in it having potential. Don't use that as your main indicator because purchases is the real decision maker, but it's just something you can look for. Now, you should also understand that your first 4 ad creatives may not be the winners. Maybe after 100 tests, you have a handful of winners. There's lots of people advertising similar things to you and at the same time. So it's your job to do the best possible job that you can, controlling what you can. Because we can't control the sales and outcomes specifically, but we can control what ads we are actually running. And with your Facebook ads, you have columns. This is the data that you're seeing whenever you start running ads. And these are the ones that I specifically set up on my account, just so I can see like a good overall view of what's happening at all times. If you don't look at these things and you don't become familiar with what you're spending money on, what the results are, you're going to have a lot of trouble actually doing this long term. Because even if you have results at the beginning, it's kind of like the program I talked about earlier in this video, you're going to squander away those results because you don't know what's going on to begin with. And I want you to be patient with this too. Don't rush the scale. At the time I made this, I had a student that was making sales, and then one day she went unprofitable, so she changed the product pricing, the description, without realizing and knowing that that was a bad idea, because now all of the ads have to completely re-optimize, and maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But once you have some ad sets in your testing campaign making sales, then is when you can start having some more fun with this campaign setup. And remember, ads are an accelerator. It's probably not going to work out perfect the first ad you run, maybe not even the second or third. But at a bare minimum, we can do everything possible to increase the likelihood of sales, like knowing how ads work before running them, having me look at your creatives before launching the test campaign if you're a student, and having a non-emotional plan to stick to. I'm going to add all of my resources in the description of this video, and if you want to connect with me and learn more, just shoot me a message on Instagram. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a big like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.